Hey guys, real quick before the video starts, I wanted to hop in and say thank you for an amazing year to all my subscribers. We're doing some really cool things here. Plus, I want to remind you, it is Black Friday, Cyber Monday week, very big for small businesses like mine. We're doing some interesting things, buy one, get one free, etc. Hop over to AMMONYC.com and pick up some car care products today. As always, thanks for watching and enjoy the episode. So today I'm going to be heading back down to Doylestown, Pennsylvania to work on a Volvo 850R that's been sitting in the woods. Now, last time I went, I pulled a 240 out of the woods. Absolutely disgusting. We cleaned it up and we got it sold. The person who purchased it is the same guy who owns this one. But this time when we go down, they're going to be cleaning this, getting it running, and then surprising his wife with this car. It's going to be awesome. That and a whole lot more in this episode of Drive and Protect. We left Danbury Airport heading west and then south to Doylestown Airport with Sam in the left seat. You guys remember him from the 401 episode with the boys from Rebuild Rescue.
Holy hell, is it cold.
When we arrived about 50 or so minutes later, Pete picked us up in this gorgeous Volvo V70R station wagon with Porsche brakes. Very cool. A few miles down the road at Pete's shop called The Fix, it was clear that some major construction or tree servicing was being done in the area because I didn't see the R at first because of all the trees that were cut down and they were cutting everything. It was just a bit of chaos going on. But behind all of those huge stumps sits what I came down here for, the elusive 1996 Volvo R in polar white.
Here it is.
Here she is. Still looks good though. I think I can bring this back.
Yeah, there's zero shine left though.
But wasn't this like over here or over there?
It was in danger of getting crushed by giant logs over there.
I can see all these logs here now.
So we dragged it over here.
Yeah.
And here she is.
And that's our ride, I guess?
I think that's our ride.
Nice.
What makes this 850R so special is that it was actually the replacement for the wildly popular 850 T5R wagon, which famously raced in the British Touring Car Championship Series in 1994 with a wagon, which is obviously completely insane and crazy, but it's why it turns so many heads. Likewise, as a Porsche guy, I find this really interesting. Porsche co-developed the engine tuning, the transmission, and the powertrain components, as well as some of the design features inside, like the Alcantara seat inserts. The R also included a sporty front bumper and lip, rear spoiler, side skirts, and titanium gray 5-spoke wheels.
So yeah, they all knew I loved the car, and I always told them, like, if you sell this car, I want to be the guy that buys it.
Right.
So here I am. It's been sitting for a few years, and it's time to restore. And I'm stoked that you're here because you told me we can restore this without painting it.
Yeah, I can do. That saves me a lot of money. The engine is your problem. The paint I can do.
Cool.
So let's get this thing pulled inside and see if we can breathe some life into it.
All right, awesome.
I'm excited.
With the tires now filled up, we dragged her out of the woods and into Pete's shop. For step one, David, one of Pete's mechanics, removed the wheels so that I could get access to the wheel wells and clean them up later on. But at the same time, Pete also secured the original 5-spoke wheels that we're going to install later on. While the old wheels were coming off, I covered the door jambs and the moldy areas with Titan 12 degreaser and just let it soak for a while we set up the power washer and the tools. As you can see, the jambs were full of leaves and junk and of course a beehive right here. So a healthy power washing is needed to blow out the rain rails to avoid backing up into the interior, which we'll show you in a little bit. Just about then, my friend, a fellow detailer, and of course, full-fledged rock star Matt Walters arrived for some much-needed help to get this detail done in one day. If you remember, Matt's uncle was actually the owner of the 240 Volvo we pulled out of the woods, we got cleaned up, and then sold, and the person who bought it was Pete from The Fix. So all the proceeds went to Ivy Hill Equestrian. I'll put a link to the video above. It's an awesome, awesome restoration. If you haven't seen it yet, he's local, he's a friend of Pete, so he hopped in to help us with a surprise. Next, we used Brute and Boost in Matt's foam cannon to soak the paint, but I think the foam cannon was a bit clogged as soap struggled to get through the orifice and lay down a thick layer of soap, but it was enough to get us going for sure. With the paint soaking, I filled up the bucket with water, 2 blue wash towels, 2 two-tier brushes, and of course Brute and Boost again for our wash step and engine cleaning. Afterwards, I rinsed the paint and the dirt just oozed out of every seam. I love this part of the process. Now take a look here. If you notice, there's black streaks coming down from the doors. This is the dried out window trim in desperate need of washing. Next, we dried the paint and used air in the jams, including the rain rails that I was talking about earlier. These get clogged easily and need to be blown out to allow proper drainage to occur during a rain, or let's say you're washing your car or something where the car gets wet. It needs to flush that water through the entire car and out. If those get clogged, you're gonna have a problem. With the tip of the air compressor in the opening, pull the trigger and then just listen for the splat of wet leaves and mud hitting the floor. It's very satisfying. Before polishing the paint, we covered up the side trim pieces because they were the only ones that weren't already damaged. I used a yellow wool pad and yellow polish, while Matt followed behind me with a yellow foam pad and yellow polish. So we quickly moved all the way around the car together. Now check out the hood from left to right. Huge difference. I removed all the oxidation and now look at the lights above. You can see it just bounces, it reflects, it's very shiny, however you want to describe it. On the other side, on the left side, that oxidation, that chalkiness just absorbs all of that light, and that's why it doesn't look very shiny.
We are about halfway through. What makes this really exciting is when you're working on paint that's been sitting outside a long time, it oxidizes. If you can see the difference between here and here, there is a massive difference. My goal is just to kind of pull off the old dead oxidation. The exciting part is the oxidation is sort of like a Band-Aid you put over the wound. I mean, underneath, once it takes time to heal and everything is great, you pull the Band-Aid off. My job is metaphorically to pull that Band-Aid off with polishing. And this example between here and the top part, which I haven't polished yet, is perfect, meaning it's perfectly shiny right now. Why? Because I ripped off that Band-Aid, so to speak, and underneath is beautiful paint. So this car, maybe another half an hour, 40 minutes, and it's gonna look amazing, but there's not a lot to do. Why? Because that oxidation protected the paint that's underneath. That's pretty cool.
At this point, while Matt was finishing up the final polishing and the 3-inch work, I started on the interior, which thankfully wasn't that bad. I first removed all the mats and all the junk that was in the car, then used compressed air to blow under the seats and all the seams. For the doors, of course, I'm using ammo lather and an interior brush. In the process, I found a Cresco pen, which I was ignorant to, but I was told it was for some extracurricular activities.
All right, Pete, so at this point, I've polished the paint, Matt's working on the little tight areas, and now I'm working on the interior.
Awesome.
What do we gotta do to get this engine running?
Well, first things first, I want to get fresh oil in it and probably a battery. Let's just see if it starts there. I mean, regardless, we'll get this thing running.
Right.
But I just want to start with the basics, see how it runs, and move on from there.
Same concept as the 240 that we did. It was sort of like,
Check the basics.
yeah, check the basics, see what happens
Spark,
here.
fuel, air.
At this point in the day, all hands were on deck. Matt was on the outside, I was on the inside. Pete and the boys were just figuring out how to get this thing running. But step one was a basic oil change.
Larry, I think we're ready to try to start it, dude. Do you want to do the honors on the first try?
Kick it over, really?
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Nothing special. Key on, start.
So attempt 1 was a no-go, but we were getting pretty close. So Pete decided to do a tune-up to see if this would be enough to get her going. So Matt and I kept plowing along with the detail in the meantime.
So this is the distributor coil, and if you look in there, I don't know if you can see it, all those dark tracks in there. It's called carbon tracking. And when a car is misfiring, what's happening is the electric is going from this to this via that path of carbon right there. It's pretty cool. So that's probably what's going on with this car. So we're going to pop a new cap and rotor on it, and I think that's probably going to fix this one.
With Matt wet vacuuming the carpets after hitting it with an air diffuser and shag, same thing on the Alcantara as well, the boys from the Fix replaced the calipers and rotors, then bled the brakes, while Pete and David cleaned the spark plug area to make sure nothing was going to fall down into the cylinder, replaced the air filter, the plugs, distributors, and so on. It was pretty chaotic at this point. For the record, I know you're watching this on YouTube and sort of feeling the pressure through the screen, but I can assure you this wasn't like a TV generated, oh my God, we gotta get it done. We legit had no time before his wife was showing up, and I had Sam waiting at the airport, which is another kind of pressure. So all hands were on deck to sort of get this done quickly in one extremely long day.
Larry, she's all tuned up, man.
You ready now?
I think this is the time.
All right, fingers crossed, man. All right, here we go. Oh, dude. Oh, oh my God. Woo! Woo! I can't believe this is running 292,000 miles. So, all right, so tell me, what did you do exactly? The tune-up you think did it?
Yeah, tune-up. So I showed
Unreal, man.
distributor caps right here. It was all caked up with carbon, terrible. All good now, brother.
Prior to us coming down and doing the detail, Pete actually picked up a brand new set of 5-spoke wheels that looked amazing. So he balanced them and then popped them on the new brakes while I was adding Frame Pro to the trim that was in desperate need of rejuvenation while Matt was cleaning the windows. After David torqued the wheels down, I covered the rubber in mud, then hopped over and applied touch-up to a few spots on the nose and put the ammo badge on the back window. While we were scrambling around on the inside, Pete was actually outside kind of talking to his wife and setting this up for the whole surprise. It was pretty cool.
You remember that one car we had like 6-7 years ago that we used to take hot dates in? The white car?
Yeah, the Volvo.
Here's a surprise.
Is it in here?
Yeah. Here it is.
Oh my God. Is this the car from out back?
Yeah, this is the one from
Wow.
V car.
Oh my God, it looks incredible.
With his wife happy and behind the wheel, we packed up the freshly cleaned R. I said goodbye to Matt and thanked him for all his help. And then I got to go for the first ride together in the Volvo 850R since their first date all those years ago. Now, there's only one problem. Their second date included me in the back seat getting dropped off at the airport after a very long day. Maybe not the most romantic vision for their date, but the car's out of the woods, it's cleaned, it's running, wife is happy, so mission accomplished. And like any boy with a new toy, the next day in the light, I got this video from you. Looks like the Volvo is running just fun. As always, be sure to subscribe for all future episodes, including this one right here, a 1956 190 SL sitting under the home of a 94-year-old man. Crazy story. You're not going to want to miss this one. Thanks for watching. See you next week.